For those with good taste.
What is up, Tasties and Tastettes? Welcome back to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again, as always, with my producer extraordinaire, the man in the Marlboro fit, Dante. How are you?
Yo.
And that guy in the middle chair, D3. 333. 333. Dante didn't drop the beat. Ray.
What it do?
I thought, like, as I was doing the, like, you were gonna
That's gonna get added digitally after.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, now I hope you enjoyed all of that out there, ladies and gentlemen. And if you did, make sure to drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe on the video. Thank you so much. Can we start with a topic, guys, that crossed my mind this week?
Yeah, what you got on your mind?
So I watched a movie.
You did?
Yeah, on Hulu, I think it was. It was called Inheritance. And this is one of those things we talked about last week where you find an actor or an actress that you're interested in and like you see them pop up in movies and you end up watching them. I've been into Peyton List in the past like 6 months. So new movie with her. I was like, give it a shot. It just came out in 2024. I was like, I've never seen this. Has kind of like an Abigail feel to it, Dante.
Okay.
So it's this family that comes together to their father's estate on the night before his 75th birthday, and they have to spend the night there. And essentially there's something there that's trying to kill them, and they're locked into the house, and they have to survive the night. And the question that I have comes from like one of the main plots of this movie. So if you're interested in seeing this, 3, 2, 1, spoiler, I am going to give the plot away because I don't think they care. So the plot of the movie is essentially the father in it. He his dad loses all of their money, is embarrassed, all of this stuff. So this guy gets into dark arts, makes a deal with the devil, that he'll have all the power and the success he wants. After his wife dies, he makes this deal, and he'll have all the power, all the money, all of this stuff that he wants, right? But he has to die at 75. Now his 75th birthday is approaching. He doesn't want to give it up. He's greedy. He's fallen in love with the power and all of this stuff. So he makes another deal with the devil and trades all of he'd be the last remaining person in his bloodline, but he could live forever. So that he has to sacrifice all of his children to be able to live forever. My question is this. Would you guys want to live forever? With all the money you could ever dream of and all of this stuff, but you have to be 75 years old.
That's what I was going to say. Not if I'm his age. If I'm at my age, then sure.
Yeah.
But to live for eternity as a 75-year-old man?
Yeah.
Nah.
Like that
What
was
are the terms? Like, are you like a healthy, like able
he was
75-year-old man?
He was in good shape. I mean, but he's 75. So even, okay, like, yeah, if you want to put the parameters there, you were the most healthy form of your 75-year-old self you could be.
Still probably no, but like, it's a little bit more enticing, I guess.
Like, what do you think okay, can I ask this? Dave, this is a question for you. How old is Bill Belichick?
72?
Okay, so you saw the pictures of him from like this past week, right?
The Dunkings ad with him and his girlfriend?
Sure, that one. Yeah, the award ceremony pictures.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm getting at here, though. Like Bill Belichick, 72 years old. He has a 23-year-old supermodel girlfriend. Is essentially living, like, if we're going to give a real life example, like if Bill Belichick at this age he is currently at could live forever, is he living a satisfying life? Like if Hugh Hefner, for instance, another guy, when he hit 75 in the Playboy Mansion, he probably would have said, like, I could live for an eternity at this version of 75.
I still don't think I would want it.
Do you think we feel that way though because we'll never, I assume, like actually be in the circumstance? Because like this is what I'm saying. Like in real life,
What, we'll
Hugh-
never be 75?
Yeah, I mean, I might not.
Probably not.
but like Hugh Hefner at 75 was living like what you would assume for some people at 75 would have been their dream, right? Like beautiful women all around in a giant mansion with a ton of money, all of this shit. Like that's where that greed comes from. I assume in real life he probably wouldn't have wanted to give it up, but we would say like it doesn't seem worth it because we would never have the option of that, essentially. Like we can't wrap our heads around ever obtaining that.
So you think that we're just associating being 75 with being like mundane in some like home, like
Yeah.
not really doing shit, maybe
I
playing
won't
solitaire.
I won't be able to like what you won't be able to walk like as much, or like you're not as fast as you were,
Yeah.
like those are the things that we're like taking into consideration there, because like when you don't have shit, all of those things are valuable. But when you have a bunch of shit, like you could sacrifice a couple things, like how quickly you move around.
Sounds like you would take the deal.
I would consider it. I wouldn't sacrifice like people's lives for it. But to live forever at 75, I would certainly rather live forever at 20. Or like Edward Cullen, I think. They were supposed to be 17 for like 100 and something years.
Okay. Is that Twilight?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was Twilight.
Thought so.
That was Twilight, the Cullens. Team
Mm.
Jacob, Team Edward.
Mm.
Question, old as time. Okay. You guys want to get into some trailer talk?
What up?
Yeah.
I assume that's a yes.
What do we got coming out?
So we've been hit with a bunch of trailers as of late. And we'll kind of maybe work through order because we're a little behind on a couple of them. Some of them happened at the Super Bowl. So let's go back to one a little ways back. We didn't even watch it today. So Dante, I don't know if you've seen this one or not. But I think you have, Dave, and I've seen it a couple weeks ago. Do you have any thoughts on the Superman trailer?
I don't think it necessarily added anything in terms of like changing my mind or focus and wanting to see it. I still like fully on board with like anything DC, and I think this being a starting point of potentially a new like DC set of movies universe, like I'm on board either way, so I'm happy with it.
I think I came away not being any more excited either, and I think I'm just not too excited. Like I think it's not so fresh in my mind anymore. I didn't love the trailer. It seems like there was going to be people who loved this trailer no matter what, because of you're just like fanboys of whatever you're fanboys of. I worry about being. I get that they're like jumping into a world where a bunch of stuff's already established, and I know that that's the reasoning for this, but it does worry me, like adding so many elements just like right off the rip with a bunch of additional characters and already dropping those Easter eggs in the trailer this far out. Like it concerns me. Like it seems like you're stretching yourself a little thin rather than just like getting this off the ground with a focused story. But I think I'm going to see it regardless. And James Gunn is James Gunn. I think he's competent. So I think I'm mostly in the same spot that I was. Nothing too crazy. I don't like the dog. I guess I'll throw that out there. I don't like the dog.
What's your beef with Crypto?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a place yet for super animals.
You're not a crypto bro?
No. I haven't jumped on that train yet. I would lose everything.
Same.
I think the next one that would have come out is Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth, which I had abstained from watching the trailer until today. So today was my first time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Same for you guys?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I watched it a week ago.
Did
or
you?
whatever it was,
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to like wait and just have my like fresh thoughts on it rather than I feel like if I watch it when it comes out, I'm going to be more tempted to watch other stuff about it and everything.
And then you start pulling different opinions.
Yeah. I wanted
gotcha.
to kind of feel fresh on it. Dante, since you hadn't seen the Superman trailer, what are your thoughts on the Jurassic World one?
Honestly, I've never really been like a huge like ever since it went from like Jurassic Park to Jurassic World, I don't think I've been really invested in it. But it looks interesting. I'll probably watch it. I just don't really have much of an opinion on it, I don't think.
I don't think any of it felt new.
What do you mean by that? Like, they're still just dinosaurs? Like,
it's not reinventing anything. It doesn't feel like it's an addition so far to the franchise. It kind of just feels like, hey, if you like our universe with dinosaurs and like you're gonna come see this anyways. Like,
it just feels like another like monster movie. You know,
yeah,
like,
and it kind of. Dave, you've seen Jurassic Park 3?
Yeah.
Do you think like this had vibes at all of Jurassic Park 3? Like I was getting Jurassic Park 3 vibes out of this movie.
My memory's failing me a
Like-
little. I've
like-
seen it, but like
remember it was the
That's-
random tourist family that like goes to Jurassic Park and they're getting the tour with Sam Neill essentially, and like
William H. Macy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
this just feels like there was a bunch of characters in this that were like just that type of character that are just along for the ride and kind of fodder for the plot. You know?
Yeah.
mm.
I think I'm in the same boat as I guess both of you and Dante, where I enjoyed the original first three. Granted, like my memory's failing me, I can't really remember the third one all that well. I think I watched the first one, Jurassic World, with Chris Pratt, and I don't think I ever watched the next two afterwards, just because I'm not a big Chris Pratt fan. And I kind of just, I don't know, didn't really care. Dude, I don't know if Scarlett Johansson in a leading role, like leading a team through Jurassic World, is going to get me back into it either.
There was nothing with her in the trailer that stands out to me
No.
at all.
It's just, I mean, so they give you one scene, obviously, like when they're out on the ocean and they're being surrounded
On
by
that
like,
boat, yeah.
and he's like, oh, they're territorial, they're protecting their, and none about what you just said sounds good. Like, no shit. Like, you have like gigantic dinosaurs circling you right now, clearly want to kill you and eat you. What do you mean? What good are they going to be doing?
Yeah, I thought like all of the action sequences looked kind of bad, honestly. And the other thing that actually stood out to me is I found myself thinking the sets looked like shit, kind of too.
Mhm.
Like the weird little like Indiana Jones like temple
On the
thing,
perch?
thing that they were doing, and like the temple looked like a bad set,
Yeah.
like more than it looked like a finished product, you know. And I think out of the three of us, I'm the biggest fan of the franchise as a whole, right? Like I've watched the animated shit, like I like it. This is the one of all of the trailers that I've seen so far. Maybe it's being burned by like Fallen Kingdom not being good and then Dominion not being good. This trailer just doesn't do anything for me. In trying to, I was hoping that it would get a refresh, but I do question like Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali. Like, I don't necessarily see them as like leading a franchise of this stature, and I think that's kind of what you're saying, Dave. Like,
Yeah.
I just, Scarlett Johansson is great as Black Widow. But like the one time she had the movie of her own, and maybe that was some of timing, like it came out too far after where it should have probably, but it just didn't do that successfully. I can't think of many movies that she's led that I've ever, like from an action standpoint, where does she lead a movie that's been great?
Great? I don't know. I mean, the only other movies I can kind of think of is like Lucy.
Lucy,
And
Ghost in the Shell.
Both of those did not do well.
There's another, like, isn't there another spy movie that she did at some point? You have it.
I mean, I guess. I mean,
She had a run in like late 2000s to like the mid 2010s that I feel like she was trying to make it more as like the leading woman in these action movies. And she's a good action star. I just don't think of her as like the face on the cover, you know? That's disrespectful. She's a beautiful woman. She should be on the cover of a lot of things.
Way to reel it back in.
She is, and I really like her. Like, it sounds like I'm like not a fan. Anything popping?
no.
So just like Ghost in the
Not
Shell,
really for action. Yeah.
Lucy,
Yeah.
then Marvel stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. But nothing exciting so far. Okay, next one, I guess going in order would be Fantastic Four, right?
Yep.
Your preliminary thoughts, Dave?
I guess out of all the trailers that we kind of just went through, I guess this has the most buzz to me, where I think I'm probably leaning more towards like I want to see Superman more. I think the trailer for this did more for me than the Superman most recently Superman trailer. However, I'm still kind of just like, we'll see what it looks like, because my opinion of Marvel is pretty low at the moment. So I really do hope that this can kind of boost it back up.
My fear for this is I'm excited for Fantastic Four for the grander circumstances of the MCU, but I fear for the movie on its own of feeling a little too much where we've gotten two Fantastic Four iterations already. I just worry about retreading too much of what I already know. And like, where do we jump into this story? And it's like, in their transformation into the Fantastic Four, how far along do we end up being? Because I don't necessarily want to see them get their powers again.
No, because so like you
right?
said with Superman, like this is already a team that has got their powers. They're already like well known, and we're jumping into a story that already exists.
Yeah, that's my one fear. I think everything else will be fine. I still like the casting for the most part. Did we like the look of the thing? The thing, yeah.
That was one thing I thought. Like, I know with the other Fantastic Four movie, I think I like the look of that thing.
The Michael Chiklis one, like the original.
Yeah.
Not the Jamie Bell version.
Sure.
Yeah. This is like the OG comic book version.
Yeah, it's definitely more comic accurate. I don't know. I kind of like it, and I also like. Forgive me, I don't exactly know his name, but the guy that plays the Thing is also in The Bear, and I think he does like a really good job in both of those. So, and I think the look of like Sue Storm and her light reflection powers and stuff like that look really, really good as well.
Yeah, I think we're in a world where all of the CGI is going to look great. I do think it's interesting they held off on showing Reed Richards doing anything, really.
True. Actually, now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one character that
showcased everybody else.
Yeah. And that's got to be by design in some regards. So they either are really happy with the way that they've done it or they haven't figured it out yet. Right?
Let's hope they're really happy with it.
I guess one of the caveats I have about like being excited about this is just like, all right, so this is set in like some like 1950s, 1960s-esque like futuristic alternate,
it's like the Jetsons kind of.
Yeah,
right?
but like it has to be an alternate Earth, right?
Yeah.
So like now we're still kind of pushing this whole multiverse thing that I think has already kind of failed, and I've lost interest in it. How does this tie into anything else? Like,
yeah, well, yeah, how either something's going to happen in this movie where there's a character that shows up right through like a multiverse situation, or it's going to be the post credits, right? Is them discovering, maybe it's Reed Richards discovering it, or Dr. Doom opening a multiverse.
America Chavez shows up and like opens like
she actually she fits the vibe of the time period the best. So that makes sense.
And then I don't know, how do you guys feel about like the overshot of Galactus like staring down at New York? Because like I feel like it kind of just looks like the back of like a toy robot.
It didn't stand out to me.
Yeah.
Well, the shot they showed in the trailer too was like an out of focus shot. So like I'm hoping in the actual movie it'll look a little better.
I don't know. It just looks like a bunch of like spare like metal parts put together in a helmet. That's my opinion.
I don't know. Thanos came a long way, right?
True.
From the first time we saw him.
Yeah.
So these things can be a work in progress, it feels like, over time. last trailer up, stick with Marvel, Thunderbolts.
Hmm.
This, I think I like this.
The problem is, I feel like the trailer is giving me all the best parts of the movie.
There was a lot of action in this trailer.
Yeah.
Well, so this movie is definitely looks a lot more exciting now that you get a little bit of an insight in terms of the big bad. Beforehand, all we had seen is there's like a couple of back and forth like dialogue and comedy shots. This actually kind of shows you what we're going to be getting out of this movie, and I'm definitely a lot more excited for it.
We were talking about this earlier with like the martial arts stuff with check out the review of Love Hurts. I like the idea of grounded superheroes still, right? Like that's what makes you excited about like the Daredevil series coming. And I like getting a movie within Marvel that still is ideally going to feel somewhat more grounded, because they've been saying that they bring light to it in the trailer, right? Like that all of them are just punch and kick and shoot people. And that brings me back to more of that Winter Soldier vibe. Not to dead name him. But like more back to that part of Marvel, like the first Avengers and that part of Marvel that I think is still really fun. So that makes me excited, and I think all of these characters work really well. Like they're all similar character types, but have their own individual stuff. And we're so far into the story that you have characters like Bucky that you have depth and like stuff attached to them emotionally. Yelena, you've gotten a little bit, so it allows you to now have all these other characters that you can start to care about because you're leveraging caring about the people you've seen already,
Yeah, because you've definitely gotten the least amount out of like Ghost and Taskmaster. And I know none of us are like huge like comic book like nerds in terms of just like knowing the ins and outs of all these characters. So like
I am affiliated. I just want to throw that out there. I'm nerd affiliated.
So like the big bad here is supposed to be Sentry, or like I guess they call him Void, I guess is like the dark version of Sentry, but like I really don't know much about this character. And I also didn't realize that like, so like you saw the first like teaser or the first trailer like a couple months ago, they show you like another member of the team, Bob. Like I guess he is the one who's supposed to turn into the big bad in Sentry. So I didn't really catch on to that early on when like they don't actually show him with the team later on, because he's obviously at some point breaks off of the team and becomes the bad guy.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem with like these trailers and like deep dives into these trailers though, is like that almost seems like a huge spoiler. And I'd like to just experience that through the movie and let them give me that reveal.
I guess but being that we're not like super in the know, I don't even know what he just said. Like like, you know what I mean? Like I heard Bob and stuff like that. So like to a point, I get what you're saying. Like if I know what's going on, then I don't necessarily want you to show me everything. But like I feel like they gave away too much of the action in the movie, but I feel like I didn't leave being like, I still don't know what the plot like necessarily is.
Yeah, the problem though is I don't expect this movie to have a very strong plot. I think it's going to hinge heavily on the action. The fact that they gave me most of that in the trailer is kind of a problem to me.
No, it's a fair fear to have.
I think you're underestimating the amount of action that you did not see in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it's still 2 minutes.
I'm not saying it's going to be all the action that's going to be in the movie was in the trailer, but I'm saying that the trailer definitely probably gave us the best action scenes we're going to see.
It does stink when you don't get like more. I hear what both of you are saying, where like it's a 2-hour movie and you give me a 2-minute trailer. So I definitely didn't see all of the action. But at the same time, I hate when you, even like Love Hurts, going back to that for a second, the idea that in a trailer you've seen all of the action set pieces. Maybe you didn't see all the action within those scenes, but you've seen all the locations that like the action's going to happen. And I could see there being a fear with something like that like once I get into this movie, I'm going to already feel too familiar with some of the locations and the stuff that I'm seeing. And I'm going to be like, oh, that's that part from the trailer. And that's that part. You know what I mean? Like, so I could see both sides of it a little bit there. It doesn't necessarily like I'm not overly concerned. Like, it's not going to diminish the way I feel about the movie, but it definitely is an issue with trailers in general, right? Is that feeling of like already being familiar with everything. And it's almost why you try to avoid watching them to a point now.
Yeah.
It is. I wonder if there's like a better balance that we can find now with trailers, because it is, you get so many. Like, we're getting trailers 9 months out for movies now. You know?
I think the problem too is they release so many different versions of trailers that
Yeah.
if you watch all of them, you've got the majority of the movie.
That's what I mean as far as like, is there a balance that we can find as far as what you give out for this stuff anymore? And like, do people really want how much? I guess it's proven that the promotional stuff must work, but I don't know. I just wonder.
No.
Show.
Dave, did you have any other news on the docket?
Not really. I mean, you guys had really said you kind of hadn't gone into any of the Justin Baldoni and the Blake Lively stuff as of recently, but it doesn't look good for Blake and Ryan.
Well, I think we look good because I came out as a Justin Baldoni supporter about 2 weeks ago, so we got ahead of this.
Where were you the whole time?
Well, yeah, I had to wait till all the facts were
flip-flop
out.
and flip-flop, flip-flop.
Yeah, dude, I had to wait till the facts were out. I got, and honestly, I maybe even got to this a little before the facts. So again, pat me on the back. We got ahead of this. We are a pro Baldoni podcast. Stand up for men's rights.
Yeah.
I had one other thing, and I sent this to Dante, but you weren't on the text thread for this one, Dave. Did you see the changes to AMC stubs?
Yeah,
Yes.
slightly higher price, but a fourth movie.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, well, I think that's the problem, right? Like,
Nah, the biggest plus for me was adding the profile picture so they don't have to ask me for my ID anymore.
yeah, like that's a cool.
It sounds
like,
stupid, right? But like, you know how annoying it is when you're like rushing in, especially like the way I
No,
watch
I
movies
agree.
is like, I know the trailers are like, 20, 25 minutes long. So I wait that time to arrive. Now I'm rushing to get to the movie for the start time and you're making me stop to go through my wallet to get my ID. So
I'm okay with the ID thing, and I'll be okay with the profile thing. It's just I hate the inconsistency in how it's enforced. Like,
yeah,
like you become
depends which theater you go to. and
you get
depends
used
who.
to them not asking, and then randomly, you'll go to walk away from them, and they'll be like, "Oh, can I grab your ID real quick?" And you're like, "Shit, okay, I have to come back and do that." I think the bigger thing for me is like, I'm more bummed about the price going up because I think for the fourth movie is going to impact such an insignificant amount of people. Like for me this week, it could have been interesting because I haven't seen Companion yet, and like I have the reservation later this week for Captain America, and I've already seen 2 other movies, so
Now
like
you gotta hold off.
Yeah, like there's that, but like that's such a relatively small and insignificant part of my month of movie watching that I'd rather not spend the extra $3 or whatever you're going to increase my price to.
There might be like 1 week during the summer where like 3 movies might entice me, but never a fourth. I don't think I'll ever go to a movie 4 times in 1 week.
Yeah, I think it's people like me and like last year, Dante, we'll see this year where like the Framingham type stuff where they get these movies that aren't necessarily like major large scale releases that I'm interested in seeing, that those are the weeks where I might be happy to have a fourth. But again, like,
and those are the type of movies where you do push to watch that like 3 or 4 movies in a week because they're usually only in theaters for like a week or 2, so you don't have a lot of time to get to see them.
Even look at like Rule and Shaw, like that was like literally a 1-day release that we went and saw. So like Valiant 1 was going to be in the theaters for 2 weeks. So like you have to kind of try and get those ones in while they're there. Just something to keep an eye on. Like it's like that Netflix thing where like 6 months from now, are they going to tell us about raising the price $2, but they're going to include like a free popcorn once a month or something, like, is that
not
worth
a
it?
bad idea?
I think that's worth it for you.
Dog, the popcorn alone is $8. So
that's fair. It's good value.
If you're jumping at $2 and giving me a free popcorn in a month, I'm cool with that.
They've been tricking me into getting popcorn at the movies because I've been showing up while they've been making fresh batches. They've been getting me, and I get it, and I'm like, I wish I didn't get this.
No, I've been staying true, bro.
Yeah.
Actually, last time I went to the movies, I stopped at Dave's Hot Chicken. So I didn't even get anything from the concessions. And very boldly, because, it's Braintree, whatever. I just walked in with the bag and the drink. They didn't say shit.
I didn't think they would. Yeah, I was gonna say like you can't really hide that one so much. So
That's what I've been saying. Like, you guys are talking about getting sliders and like chicken tenders at the movie theater. I'm like, dude, Dave's is just right there. Just get better food.
Oh, no. You haven't been to Framingham.
Okay.
yeah, Framingham is very good.
Maybe not the chicken tenders, but like they got good food there
You know why it's good though?
because it's there.
Because it's got taste.
Oh.
And I guess the question begs:
Do you got it?
do you guys have it?
Yeah.
If you guys have it at home, make sure to drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And it's time, guys.
Taste.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this week we're talking Armageddon, and let's start here. Great. Is it when you think of maybe not the best quality movie, but I think this is if I was going to describe the term blockbuster movie to somebody, this is the depiction of what like almost the perfect Hollywood blockbuster is to me.
It is one of my favorite movies from the 90s, from like when I was a kid.
Dave, I was watching this today. It might be one of my top 10 favorite movies ever.
I had no idea that this was a Michael Bay movie, by the way.
It is. Do you know he is in this movie?
No.
I sniped that. He's in the beginning of the movie. He's one of the people, the NASA scientists. He like pushes himself over. They do one close up frame on his face, and I was like, "Is that Michael Bay?" And I looked it up, and I was like, "Yeah, he is in this movie."
Isn't that a Michael Bay thing where he sneaks himself into all those movies? Yeah.
Yes. Well, the Michael Bay thing, Dante, is that he's very self-involved, is what I think. I think he's like the South Park episode about like loving the way your farts smell. Like, like that's kind of Michael Bay in my mind. And I like him as a director. I've liked many a movie. He's probably made some of my favorite movies of all time, truth be told. But he definitely seems like that kind of guy to me a little bit. But this maybe is like the most perfect Michael Bay ever. This is the peak of Michael Bay to me. I don't know if like you're better with directors, Dave. Like he's had a million great movies. You can do the Bad Boys stuff.
I was gonna say
right?
all I can think is Bad Boys and Transformers.
Bad Boys, Transformers, The Rock,
The Island.
The Island. Yeah, like a million other things. What's that? That something 9 Underground 6 maybe not 9 Underground 6. That's the Ryan Reynolds Netflix movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that
Didn't
this
know he
is
did
like
that.
the pinnacle of him. And when I say like it is the perfect blockbuster, I think it's got all of the action you could ask for it to have. I think it has drama. It's got like the love interest. It's got comedy throughout it.
Great visuals.
Yes.
Incredibly scientifically inaccurate.
Yes. Yeah. Like defies all logic, which is a summer blockbuster must. Right.
Yes.
Like if you're going to give me a summer blockbuster, I don't want logic, you know? And funny enough, one of the more famous behind the scenes things with this movie, you know, they do on the DVDs, you can hear cast and director commentary. I've heard this like a bunch of times, but it came up again when I was looking up stuff for this movie. On the commentary, Ben Affleck talks about how he tried pointing out like the stuff that doesn't make sense to Michael Bay, and Michael Bay just looked at him and was just like, shut the fuck up. Also, funny story about Michael Bay, a couple Michael Bay things on this movie. Michael Bay he paid $25,000 to get Ben Affleck's teeth done. So he didn't so for this movie, he said he always thought it was a super heroic shot to do the shot from just under the chin. And if you notice in this movie, once I read this, almost every shot of the entire movie is done from like right in a person's face. They're slightly like they're in the left third of the screen and it's just under their chin for like the whole movie. And he hated the way that Ben Affleck's teeth looked for those shots. So he literally paid for him to get his teeth done for the movie.
Wow, what a fuck you.
Another Michael Bay thing from this movie, I guess he's had weird history with people on his sets in general. Like there's a bunch of stuff with Transformers that you can go back and look back at. But there's also a lot on this other guy. Bruce Willis said he thought Michael Bay was a screaming type director, and he's not the type that he'd want to work with again. And Michael Bay came back after and he's like, yeah, we got along great. I never had any issues with him. But Bruce Willis also famously, there's Kevin Smith always tells stories about when they did what's the
Die Hard?
No, something cop with Tracy Morgan.
Oh, Get Hard? No.
No, that's
Ride Along?
no, neither
Fuck.
one of those. Something cop, I thought.
I thought it was Die Hard that they worked together in Die Hard.
Who? Kevin Smith and Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I think it was.
I think he might have been on, but their issues stem from this movie because Kevin Smith directed it. And he said that Bruce Willis was the biggest dickhead to him. And he said they're cool now and like they've gotten along fine. But yeah, he said at the time he was like the biggest asshole in the world to him. So I don't know who you believe there because like it could be that Bruce Willis is a pretty established guy. Like he could have been the asshole. Or was it Cop Out? Okay, I knew it was Cop something. So I was going to get to this. The last part to me is the cast. And I had referenced this when we were kind of previewing it last week. And Dante, you had never seen this before,
No.
right?
It's an insanely decorated cast.
This man, like where I say peak Michael Bay, I don't know how involved he was in the casting of this movie. But the fact that almost every single person who makes an appearance in this movie, you can recognize
And
from
they're
something
huge.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're from all levels because there are the guys that are like massive recognizable actors, but there's also like some character people that I think you just kind of you see their face and you're like, oh, I remember him from this like the dude who plays the like lead astronaut or whatever, like that dude's like Mahone from fucking Prison Break and shit, you know, like you just kind of recognize these guys and you're like, oh, like he was in this or he was in that, you
or
know?
the Russian astronaut
Also from Prison Break.
also had a skin in Call of Duty.
Yeah, very recently. Yeah, the past few weeks. Yeah, a few months rather. Yeah. So I was gonna ask you guys, a huge stat cast. Dante, top 3 favorite in the movie.
I don't fucking know.
Work it out. You want me to give you my 3 first?
Sure.
I think there's 2 that you almost have to have included. And it's because I think that this
Bruce
movie
Willis and Ben Affleck.
No, Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton would be my 2.
Mm.
Because this movie's super unhinged, right? Like there's a bunch of shit that makes no sense. There's people who are just like have these small roles that are chewing up scenery, right? Like doing like just stealing scenes that they're in. And Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton are the 2 characters, I guess, in the whole movie to me that are serious. Like they're taking it serious the whole way through. And like I think Bruce Willis in a lot of scenes holds together the like chaotic shit that's going on around his character in it. So I think those 2. And then I think the third person, Steve Buscemi seems like the most obvious one, right? Because he's very funny in it, especially when you're on the asteroid, like him just like
I think this is also the first time I've seen him in a non-Adam Sandler movie.
Con Air.
Con Air.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Con
Cool.
Air. But yeah, like it's like he is like his spiral into insanity, like the closer it gets to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Space madness.
Yeah, is like he's got space dementia.
Yeah, dementia.
Yeah. Is peak, right? Like I think it's some of the best stuff. But then I also am like, Liv Tyler's pretty fucking good in it. But yeah, I think that Steve Buscemi's probably the third for me. Ben Affleck also very good. Ben Affleck, I think first half of the movie you hate him, and then I think you've genuinely like the like him kind of growing up through the movie.
Oh, you hate him?
Early in the movie, I think you like the scenes.
Fucking the boss's daughter? I was cheering for him.
No, but I'm more so talking the scene in the pool. Like the arrogance to not listen and like the hard-headedness and like some of that shit, you know?
Like the whole, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Unwillingness to take, like, I know how the machinery works while you're saying it to the guy whose machinery it
Who
is.
designed it.
Yeah. And you're like telling him you know how to do it, but like the computers are wrong, but it's like he's the one telling you, not the computers. Like he's telling you to shut it down, you know? Back it off, dude. So yeah, your 3?
Can I just steal yours?
I guess.
Nah. Nah, probably gonna go Bruce, Ben Affleck, Steve Buscemi.
Not a Billy Bob guy, huh?
I'm a Ben Affleck guy.
I
Sorry.
hear you, through and through. Did you guys know where they filmed where they filmed this movie for the space scenes? Like, how do you think they filmed them for the space scenes?
I assumed it would have been filmed in a studio.
Dave, do you have any guesses?
Nope.
Were they in a cave?
No, they did it in I believe it was the Badlands. Hold on, I want to
Bad
get
Girls Club?
South Dakota Badlands were used for the asteroid surface. So all of that was filmed like in the woods, basically in South Dakota.
How'd they make it look like that?
So when you need to find a filming location that can credibly double as the surface of an asteroid, you go to the South Dakota Badlands. They filmed the two shuttles, the Independence and the Freedom, crash landing on the Barry Barber Ranch. It's not the first movie that used the Badlands Ranch as a substitute for outer space as well. Starship Troopers also did it. So there's got to be something. It must be the rockiness of the terrain, shit like that they're identifying, and like the fact that two different movies a year apart. Because I think Starship Troopers was 97, and this was 98.
Yeah.
That they would have gone back to back using this. There's also controversy with this movie. I talked about wanting to do some type of series on here about movies that with similar plots that came out around the same time. And this movie and
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact came out. And Deep Impact, the director or writer, one of them, basically accused Armageddon of stealing a lot of their ideas. Dante, I'm sure, hasn't seen Deep Impact. You have?
I haven't, actually.
No? Okay. So aside from them being very much the same plot, like overall arching plot of like an asteroid coming towards Earth, the one focuses on them stopping it in outer space.
Yeah.
The other one focuses more on how would you survive it on Earth.
So then they're different movies.
In a way, yeah. I mean, like, I don't think they're very, very much similar. I can see, like, the obvious things.
Like, the whole concept of an asteroid hitting the Earth is not a novel idea.
No.
But, like, if you're asking me to choose between the two, give me the Space Cowboy version.
Yeah, and, and I think that what hurts it in retrospect now, being almost 30 years since the movie came out, is the casting. Again, like, the depth of what this movie is able to do. And I think a thing that I criticize a lot is length of film, and this movie's not short. It's 2.5 hours long, but this is a movie. How many times have you seen it?
I don't know, probably between 5 to 10 times in my life.
Dude, I might have seen it 20 times in my life. Like I've seen this movie a ton, and today I was still like enjoying myself, like emotionally invested, knowing stuff that's coming and looking forward to like those scenes happening. And I think part of that is that first hour where you actually just meet this, like you meet the people and you get like scenes that like introduce you to each one. And even that 10-hour leave that they get, and you get to see him go see his son, and you get to see Buscemi at the strip club, and like you understand the characters. So then when you're finally in space, like all of their lives mean like I feel like a significant amount of the cast, like their lives mean something. So then when you start losing them, it feels more like emotional. And I think that the length helped this movie do that. And I could see a world where if this movie was made in the past 10 to 15 years, it's an hour and 45 minutes long. And we're sitting here like, yeah, like there was a badass action movie, but like it has
who was the character?
Yeah, it has no staying power to it, you know?
I think the performances are what carry it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right down to like Owen Wilson's such like an insignificant piece of this movie. But when Ben Affleck finds him like dead on the on the asteroid, like it means something.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's one of the things that stands out the most for me in the movie. What was your like as you're watching it unfold, Dante? What was kind of like what were you working through? Like, how are you feeling?
Well, never having seen this movie before, I went into it thinking it was a lot more serious of a movie. So I liked the levity of it. I found myself enjoying it right from the beginning. Just being like, wow, this is an exciting ride. And the fact that you just now told me it was 2.5 hours, I never checked beforehand. I didn't even realize I watched it for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. What do you think of the CGI for 98?
Not bad. It all fit.
I thought it was actually like super impressive. Some of the destruction scenes.
Well, a lot of I feel like destruction scenes between like the spaceship getting bombarded by the meteorite, and then like the meteor shower at the end. A lot of it was kind of, I feel like, hidden by like slow motion, grainy, like
explosive shots.
Yeah.
Right? I assume the ship scene, like when they're in space, like with
when they're trying to approach the asteroid.
Well, I'm not even that. Yes, and also even the launch of the vehicle. I assume those were miniatures that they used.
Oh, when they come off of the space station and kind of like spin around.
Yeah, like when he jumps the gap, when they turn the thrusters off and stuff like that. Even that, I feel like, was a miniature of the vehicle.
Yeah, I can see that
being used, and that's what they were filming. I thought, like, yeah, they did a really good balance of, I agree with what you're saying, of there was a lot of camera trickery that they were able to use. And maybe this is a thing that, like, some of these movies from, like, the right around 2000 have some of the most, like, interesting, like, shots, I feel like, that didn't need artificial stuff, and they were able to just use that more old-fashioned, like, camera
I think
trick.
they had to lean on that a lot more.
Yeah. But why is that? Why did that go away when I would argue in some ways it feels better, you know, than these cheesy, like, CGIs that we get?
Because now I think the thought process is, if we can do it, we're going to try it, versus, like, sometimes it's better to just kind of leave a little to the imagination and hide it in an artistic way.
You wouldn't really think that out of a Michael Bay, though. Like, generally, he's the one that wants to show you the explosion and the fire.
I assume there was more limitations to what you could do, though.
Yeah, it was definitely limitations, but, like, they just worked around it so much better. I just feel like you had to have it. It made directors be more creative in blocking the shots. It feels like, than having to just be able to know, hey, we can just fill this in post, you know, on something after the fact.
Yeah.
Was there any of the, like, logic gaps that stood out to you, like significantly? There's only one that popped out to me while watching it this time that I caught myself thinking, because they were talking about the idea of, like NASA's been considering that there could be an asteroid that hit the Earth since the 70s. They, like, do this whole thing when they're first bringing in Bruce Willis to tell him about why they need him. And they're talking about it being since the 70s they've been preparing for it. And I'm like, well, it just seems weird that, like, and this was kind of Ben Affleck's point on the commentary of, like, oh yeah, like, we're going to have an asteroid barreling through Earth, and instead of having these people from NASA that are the smartest people in the world learn how to drill, we take the people on the oil rig and teach them how to be astronauts. And that's where Michael Bay was like, shut the fuck up, you know? But it's kind of that thing where I'm like, you've been doing this since the 70s, and now we're in this situation, and the only people we can turn to is oil people. You could have been teaching people how to drill for the better part of 40 years to be ready for this. And instead, you have to turn to Bruce Willis and a bunch of dudes who are out in the middle of the ocean.
If it was NASA that went out to do it, though, it would have sucked. It wouldn't have been a great movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. Because then the other part was when they show Bruce Willis those RVs or whatever that they're driving around in. And he just, they get into the trucks and they just start ripping shit out. And I'm like, oh yeah, like the things that are supposed to keep you safe in space so you don't die. And we just have these guys just pulling stuff out. Who knows if any of it's fucking important towards that stuff?
Because they're smarter than NASA.
Yeah, and they just don't question it.
And then when he's walking through the warehouse and you have like the 4 astronauts that are like, yeah, we've been teaching them drilling, but they've been hitting like this rock and breaking this, and like, with all due respect, sir, I've been drilling for 30 years.
And I've never missed my mark.
He says that a few times.
I just Googled real quick because I was just like seeing a couple of movies pop up. Time.com or Time Magazine or whatever made a list of like top 25 best disaster movies. Armageddon, number 1.
It makes sense.
Now, a couple of these other movies on here, I wouldn't particularly say called disaster movies. Like
smaller scale.
They have Titanic as number 2. Like, I get there's definitely something that happened, but
the Earth versus the boat in the iceberg is a little scale differential there.
Like 2012 comes up at number 3.
Too highly rated. I think Day After Tomorrow is better than 2012.
Twister, I think Day After Tomorrow they have it 11.
Yeah, like I think Day After Tomorrow is the better version of 2012.
Greenland at number 7.
I've been wanting to watch that movie. Have you guys seen that?
I have
Greenland,
not, but I hear there's a sequel coming.
Maybe, yeah. That's actually one for the taste test list. I'd really like to watch that. Gerard Butler. Supposed to be a natural disaster movie. I also want to watch The Impossible. Is that on there at all? That's Tom Holland and Naomi Watts.
No.
From when Tom Holland's like 12 years old. And I guess they really created a tsunami for that movie to like film scenes, and he did the acting for it. So he's getting like pulled through the water. I saw some of the behind the scenes stuff from it.
It's kind of sick.
Yeah. Deservedly so. Like I said, I mean, I've always known how much I love this movie. Bruce Willis has always been a person, I would say for most of my life, I would have called him my favorite actor. And I think it's because Die Hard and this movie are just so high up in like the pantheon of things that I've seen in my life that resonated with me. And like, I can watch a million times and still I like have this nostalgic like happiness while watching them, you know?
Yeah.
When they were doing the demands, like when they sign on to do it,
Yeah.
right? And they're doing the demands. Did you guys try to think of any demands that you would ask for?
No, but I do love we don't want to pay taxes again for the rest of our life. I thought that was,
Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect.
Yes, that's very fun. I don't know if you guys want to think of any. I had one specific one that popped into mind. Can you look up something real quick, Dave? I don't know if you've seen this yet. The Jags owner's yacht that he owns.
You want to demand a yacht?
Dude, just look at this thing. And if it gives you the stats on this fucking yacht, it is insane. It has six pools on it. Like,
what the fuck?
it's a $350 million yacht.
It's just a rolling hotel.
$450 million.
My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, don't downplay it.
It has like 80 employees on it.
Bro.
Yeah, maybe spend some of that money on your team.
No, instead he gave it to his son to buy a wrestling company. Yeah, crazy, huh? So I'd want that. I think like if I'm saving the earth, it's a reasonable.
Is that just sitting in the port of Jacksonville?
So he had it at the Super Bowl.
Did he?
Yeah, he had it at the Super Bowl, and so his son, who owns AEW, Tony Khan, he said he lives on the boat with his dad. Which I'm like, you can't really make fun of him because he could see him once a week with how big that fucking thing is.
Yeah, that's sick.
Like he could be on a whole different wing. I think it has like 6 floors.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's insane.
So yeah, I want that.
Okay.
That'd be my first demand. And if they said no to that, I'd be like, okay, can you get me the coolest RV? Because I wonder that's led me to my next thing. If that's like a $350 million yacht, what's the craziest RV?
Probably pretty fucking wild.
We'll do that search after the podcast because I'm intrigued, but I don't want to like
die down.
Yeah, take us all the way down
yeah.
there. Do you guys have any extravagant demands you think you'd want?
Honestly, man, no, I can't think of anything crazy. I'd probably just want money and yeah, no taxes.
You wouldn't want
for the rest
like
of my life is sick.
What about like like you get to travel anywhere in the world? Like I don't know. I feel like there's like if you're in that situation, literally anything you could think of is an available option to ask for, right?
Yeah.
Because what could
Like,
ever
I'm about to
measure
save
up
the world.
Yeah, what could ever
what
measure
price
up
do
to
you put
this?
on the world?
Yes. Yeah. So like either get rid of me or meet my demands,
Yeah.
please. I the one other demand in there that I think is funny today to hear. They wanted to know who killed Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Stick around long enough, you were gonna find out, man. Like we're on the cusp. We're here. It only took this long. You know?
Oh man.
What team are you guys on? Freedom or independence? Which ship would you have rather been on if you didn't know it was gonna crash?
Brother, I don't remember who's on what.
Okay, so I believe the Freedom was the Bruce Willis one, and the Independence was the Ben Affleck one.
Independence, baby.
So the Freedom though had the better overall crew because it had the best astronaut dude. It had Bruce Willis. It had his sidekick.
No.
It had Buscemi. It had Max. Max was gone but not forgotten.
He loved mama.
He did. Even like he was like when he was What was he upset that the nuke got shut off? Right? Was that
Yeah.
his thing? Right.
It's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, this place sucks.
Yeah. That ship seemed the cooler ship to me. Ben Affleck's the Sphere and the other. Actually, Michael Clark Duncan, Owen Wilson, it is a tough go. I was just wondering because we did the Edward Cullen, like I was talking about the Twilight thing earlier. It's Team Jacob, team. I think it's like, are you Team Independence or are you Team Freedom? It's a question that crossed my mind
Independence.
while I was there. Yeah. Independence is you. The other thing with the ships, so you notice after the movie in the post credits, they had the
post credits.
there was a wedding. They did the wedding in the post credit. Like there was just like scenes of Liv Tyler.
Pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that I noticed in there, they showed Bruce Willis, Owen Wilson, Max, and then the other guy, the other astronaut dude who died right before they put the nuke into the ground. You know, the last one who died.
Mm-hmm.
They had those 4 pictures up. Fine, right? Like remembering them. My issue is this. 3 of them, there's a relationship to that makes sense, right? Bruce Willis, Owen Wilson, and Max. Those are friends. You add in the 4th guy who had no relation. That's just a random astronaut, right? My issue becomes there's 2 other astronauts who died.
There's a bunch of other. Yeah.
There was the 2 other guys that were on the Independence who crashed and died that they just don't even get their picture remembered at the wedding. They weren't even there at all.
Yeah.
But we added this other random astronaut in there. I was like, that's really insulting to those 2 guys.
I didn't even pay attention to that.
Yeah, it was when you're on the 20th time watching something.
You start picking up the little details,
that 4th guy, there was one other minor like driller that was out there with you that they didn't really ever show.
Which one?
So that might be who that guy is. He's not one of the astronauts.
Okay, so he was an action. Okay, weird.
Yeah. There, I couldn't tell you anything about him. I just know that there was
because
one
wasn't
other.
he the guy who died that I'm talking about? Maybe you're right, and I'm just associating with. You know the one I'm talking about, who when he pulls the gun out on Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis puts him in the chokehold with the tongs. He's the guy that the other dude is holding the gun on. Like there's 4 of them.
That's the picture of.
I thought that's who the picture. You might be right, and it's a totally different guy now. But that's who I thought the picture was when I was watching it at the end. And that's why I thought it was weird that like we're just throwing that random guy his picture up. Dante, did you cry?
No.
I did.
At what point?
Twice.
Multiple times.
Twice. I think when they're on leave and the guy shows up at the house to see his kid, and he's just like has to be there quietly, like the kid doesn't know who he is, and it's just like super sad. Like I can't tell you, but like, I just wanted to see my child before I went and died.
I was crying sad tears at the part that I knew I was going to cry sad tears at. Which
The elevator scene.
Is the elevator scene gets me. 2 scenes actually. Him talking to Liv Tyler, and the elevator scene. Though that combination back to back is like hits you hard. Him talking to his daughter right before he's going to fucking nuke himself is peak like cringe sad shit in a blockbuster movie. Like it's all time level emotional. But I even like little things like I just wanted to shake the hand of the greatest, the daughter of the greatest man I've ever met. I thought was great. Like just little things like that you know are like I'm just getting like amped while like Harry's like I never missed my mark, and like all those scenes and like just like even that shit had me a little bit like getting a little emotional. I'm like, it's fucking awesome, dude. Like this movie feels so it's a feel good film.
Now you remind me, I think I might have choked up a little bit at the goodbye scene.
With his daughter.
Yeah.
Like I just thought like that. Yeah, I don't know that whole thing, and then Ben Affleck's best. Like he kills that elevator scene.
No,
like when he says "I love you," I think it's like perfect because it is like the whole movie. You know that it's like his father. He loves this kid and is like super hard on him, and you know that this kid has grown up on this ship and has probably seen this dude as his dad the whole
like
time,
a father figure,
and even more so loves his daughter, so he has even more of a connection to him. So
they only show you 3.
There's definitely a 4th. I thought that I swear to God they show a 4th.
No, because they zooms in, pans over, and then stops on 3.
Right. I'm gonna rewatch this now. I didn't make up the 4. Maybe keep watching through when they're doing this stuff. with the trailers playing, and that's where I saw it.
Nah, you've been fact checked.
This
bro.
looks a little different.
Does look a little different.
See how
than
this
I
is
think I
zoomed
saw.
in, Dave?
Mhm.
It's cropping off the sides. That's where I think the fourth person's getting cropped off. See? I think it's cropping, dude.
You're cropping. All right.
I don't want to miss a thing. Is it the greatest soundtrack song of all time?
Oh, yeah. You an Aerosmith fan?
Aerosmith. Dream On.
Local legends.
Are they local?
Beverly.
Yeah, they used to shop in Braintree all the time. They would be in the Best Buy and the Bath and Beyonds. I knew people who worked there
Sold
who would
some
see them all the time.
some Wii remotes and games and stuff like that to Steven Tyler.
It is crazy that his daughter's getting an animal cracker stuffed in her underwear while he's singing the love song over the top of it.
You know. Yeah, do what you gotta do.
What do you think of Ben Affleck's Australian accent while he did the gazelle grazing across her titties? You kind of want to do it. What did he call them? The mounds of something? I was like, that's like a rude way to describe your fiance's titties. And graze the plains of the down under. Yeah, but no, is that the greatest song? Because I imagine you know that song regardless of if you had seen this
I'm
movie
trying to
or
remember
not.
the song now.
I don't want to miss it.
Man, that was the final slow dance song to
So-
all of my middle school dances.
That or Casey and JoJo.
Yeah.
Every single
Mm.
middle school dance I ever had. Yeah. I
Never
don't,
went to any.
So it's the only number one hit that Aerosmith's ever had.
Oh, wow.
number one.
Yeah.
I
Unless the thing I read was not telling me the truth.
mean, they had a lot of really, really good songs.
Well, I
but
mean, they're a
I don't
mega
know.
band.
Yeah, I don't know about number ones.
They're a
All right.
mega band, dude. But that's what it
I mean,
yeah.
Dream On was good. Sweet Emotion.
Jaded.
Jaded. Angel.
I
Toys in the
enjoyed
Attic.
Jaded quite a bit.
Pink. You know, had quite a lot of songs.
Yeah, Aerosmith has been around since the 1970s, but they had a major resurgence in the late 80s and early 90s. For that reason, Steven Tyler's daughter was one of the Armageddon stars, and they were asked to record the song. It was written by Diane Warren, and despite a ton of classic hits like Dream On to Sweet Emotion to Livin' on the Edge, the band had never had a number one single until this song, and it remains their only one to top the pop charts.
You know, they
Holy
had
shit.
4 Oscar nominations, by the way, for this movie.
Them in particular?
Well, the movie had
Oh, okay.
4.
Aerosmith got nominated.
The
4 times.
song, the best original song was one of the.
It must
award.
have won. I have to.
It didn't win anything.
That's insane that it didn't win Best Original Song. Like, I'm serious, dude. There is not a song that's more synonymous with a movie, maybe, that I could
Top
ever
Gun.
think of.
Yeah, Top Gun.
Okay. Fair. This is still... No, I think this still wins. I think this still wins, dude. Because, dude, I don't know. I think you remember the Savannah scene.
So yeah, they were nominated for Best Original Song, Best Visual Effects, Best Sound Effects, and Best Sound.
What would be the difference between best sound effects and best sound? Oscars is super confusing.
That is slightly confusing. I have 2 other like last little follow up like things that I wrote down here. Is draw straws the appropriate way to determine who nukes themselves on an asteroid?
No.
I wrote down draw straws or rock paper scissors. Like if they had ran a tourney.
2 out of 3.
Nah.
Yeah, if they ran a 2 out of 3 tourney, rock paper scissors, or you did like
No.
Connect 4 or tic tac toe.
I think there's a lot of strategic late deployments on rock, paper, scissors versus you can't really rig drawing straws.
So you just thought chance was the way to do it rather than have skill have something to do with it?
Yes.
Skill.
Like, I think if I'm more talented than you, I should have the edge in surviving
You want
this.
to play some Rochambeau?
Yeah, like, yeah, something. So you think that that's the right way?
Yes.
Rock, paper, scissors for my life.
Or like red light, green light, somebody stands on the other end of the spaceship. Better not fuck up. Play Simon Says.
You're
Oh,
going.
I didn't say Simon Says.
Well, nice knowing you, pal. Get
Yeah.
on out there.
Here's the remote, buddy. Yeah, there's that. And then the only other one, do you guys think that the Russian astronaut married that chick, the female astronaut?
No. What?
The sexual chemistry between them when they're trying to get off the astronaut, and he's like, ma'am, can you please move? Can you please move? I know how to fix this. Can you please move? And then he has to move her. There was so much sexual tension there. I swear to God, they're married.
Russian parts, American parts, all made in Taiwan.
Yeah, dude, I was watching that. I was like, he fucked her so good when they got off this fucking ship. He might have done it on the ship. They found out that they
They
got off
flicked
the
on
astro-
autopilot and
Yeah.
just fucking got to
Yeah.
it.
He was like, we're safe now. He's, he that spaceship, by the way, like the Russian space station where they get the fuel. Do we believe he actually was an astronaut on that ship? Because he didn't seem like he was very in control of what
Of anything.
was going on. And why was he not dead yet with how poor of shape that was in that it blew up the second that somebody else showed up there?
Yeah.
It's a bad space station. He was a bad astronaut until he joined up with them.
Nah, leave my man alone, all right?
Well, so Dante, I guess the question begs for you. Final thoughts. Did it pass the taste test?
Absolutely.
All right. Good man.
Absolutely.
Top 10 action movie you've ever seen?
That'd be tough without giving it some thought, but it's probably up there.
I think it should be.
You can't tell
I'm
me
gonna-
what I have to think.
We're going to end this podcast and I'm going to have Dante pull up a letterbox and start making the list. Stay tuned. We're going to be coming back with that one. Okay. Dante, what did we decide for our next taste test? If you could preview it for the people.
Next week, we are going to be coming back and talking Igby Goes Down.
You might ask, what is that?
It is not a movie about a plane named Igby that goes down.
Yeah, if there was any confusion on that little wrinkle, out the window now. That is not the case. The truth be told, none of us know what it's about. I wrote it down. I will take onus if it ends up being terrible. That's on me. They will harass me next week. Stay tuned to find out if that is the case. It is a Karen Culkin movie. What's the name of the movie that we saw recently with him and Jesse Eisenberg? One of Those Days.
Oh, I didn't watch that one.
No. Definitely not that.
Was it Road Trip?
Oh, no.
Yep.
That's the Tom Green movie.
Yep. Tom Green.
Put that on the list.
Sean William Scott.
It's the nerdy kid from what was the
Ben Kravitz or something like that.
what was he when he wasn't he the kid who was in high school? What was that movie called? Story for another day. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Igby Goes Down next week. Do we know what streaming service it was on, Dave?
Tubi.
Tubi. Check
Tubi
it out
continue.
on Tubi. It is a free streaming service available to everybody. Download it, watch the movie, come back next week. Please, thank you. We appreciate it. And if you could, one last thing, we beg of you, drop a like, comment, tell a friend, ask a friend, all that shit. What did you think of the Super Bowl trailers? Are we excited for Captain America? You know, you get the gist. Till next week, though, we bid you valet. Adieu.
Peace.
Bang, bang.
A skit.
For those with good taste.
Armageddon out.
Oh, shit.
Just like that. Yeah.